Good morning, y'all. It is day 145, and I am leaving the Garfield campsite. I think I talked about it, but 2 days ago was the worst day because of all the rain over the Kinsmans. And in retrospect, like I said, yesterday was by far the worst day on trail. Those were beautiful views, but at the top of Franconia Notch and the ridgeline, but there were 4 very steep mountains, the steepest I've ever climbed, certainly worse than out west, Rocky Mountains. I've never done anything that big, and it just slowed me down, and I was spent. And today is one big uphill, which I'm already on, and then it's just a long gradual decline. I don't think it's going to be as big a day today. And everybody's saying, yeah, you got to go half of what you like. So 16 has been my sweet point. I should be doing 8, to be honest. And it's starting to wear on me. And to be honest, I've considered quitting and going home. It's just not that fun. I mean, it's just that difficult. It's not really a trail. It's just bouldering and rock climbing to me. You know? I mean, think about in the South and Pennsylvania, Connecticut, Massachusetts. I mean, it was a real trail, a hard trail at times. But this is not. This is intentionally forcing you to throw your sticks away and just boulder. And you know, I'm not a boulder. I can care less about rock climbing. So, yeah, it's not been a good 2 days for me. But they say never quit on a bad day. So, and I got nowhere to go. I mean, I'm 2 or 3 days from the nearest town, so not a lot I can do. But yeah, it's a real consideration. I may get off in Gorham, take a bus, and go home. But we'll see. You know, decision-wise, I did 16 day before yesterday in the rain. That was way too many. And I did 10 yesterday over 4 mountains. That was over 5,200 feet of elevation, so, and 2,600 feet in descent. So I did 1.5 miles up and down, not the real miles on the trail. Give you an idea what I was doing. So, yeah, not having fun, just to be honest. So, we'll see how this day shapes up, and I'll have to reflect and decide what I'm going to do. So, let's get going. In this mile, there are several similarly named points of interest. There's a Guyot Spur, Guyot Shelter, and Mount Guyot. There's also another Mount Guyot in the Tennessee-North Carolina border, and yet another Mount Guyot in the Rockies. So who is this guy Guyot? Well, it's Arnold Guyot, who was a Swiss-born American geologist, geographer, and educator. He made huge contributions to the study of geology, glaciology, and meteorology on 2 continents. He was lured to Princeton University in 1854 and was appointed professor of geology and physical geography, a position he held for over 3 decades. He made an extreme series of barometric measurements throughout the Appalachians to estimate elevation, and he helped establish a national system for weather monitoring by outfitting meteorological observation stations. He was the first person to create a map of all of the White Mountains, and in his spare time, the evangelical Presbyterian taught at Princeton Theological Seminary and New York's Union Theological Seminary by explaining nature and scripture were complementary, originating from the same author. He insisted that nature was divinely ordered, but was still bound by natural law. He even admitted that natural evolution of a limited sort was possible, stating that only 3 divine interventions were necessary to explain the natural world, those being the special creation of matter, life, and humanity. Hey y'all, so day 145 is coming to an end. Yeah, I was pretty down yesterday, and that was a really tough day. Those 4 mountains. It was ended up being 5,200 feet in elevation and 2,600 feet in descent, and it just destroyed my knees, and it was just too many miles when it's that much elevation. It was 4 major mountains. I mean, beautiful views up there, as you saw. But I did not have a lot to say yesterday or even this morning. Those mountains were Little Haystack, Lincoln, another small little mountain in there, and then Lafayette, and then Garfield. So really 5. But Garfield was the killer. That was the really, really steep one, and then back down. And I think it took me an hour and a half to go 1 mile. It was grueling. And then when I got there last night, I was just so exhausted. The shelters were full. The tent sites were full. They squeezed me in the shelters. People moved around. I was very grateful for that. Didn't cook and just drank my fluid and just went right to bed. So that was it. But kind of reassessed this morning, and Rocky Man and I both agree it's just we need to cut back the miles. they say you should cut it in half, and we've been doing 16. So we should be doing 8s. But even today we did 14. And it wasn't nearly the elevation as yesterday, and we were able to pull it off. But yeah, we're going to reassess. And the weather's supposed to be yucky, really rainy tomorrow. And we were going to try to get as close up to the summit of Washington as we could, but I don't think we're going to push that with all the rain. We're going to pull in short tomorrow, and then that's going to cause us to have another extra day in the woods before we can resupply, but I think we have enough food to make it. I didn't eat mine last night, so I can make it an extra night for sure. So yeah, we won't get into Gorham for 2 or 3 days instead of 2 days as we originally thought with the weather. But it was a pretty day today. It was kind of cloudy and overcast this morning, but it did brighten up later in the day. Had the one big summit of the day, and then downhill. And we got in here to Ethan Pond campsite. So the shelter's already full, so I just took a platform here and pitched my tent. Gonna eat and hope the weather holds. No rain tonight, supposedly. But the nice thing today was that we got to stop at 2 of the huts that I've mentioned. And we did get some leftover breakfast early this morning, and then we hit another hut in the afternoon, and they had some soup. So we got some homemade soup. So it kind of worked out for us. So we're fine on food. But yeah, I was just kind of reassessing. I was really thinking about just getting to Gorham as fast as I could, just taking the bus, going home. I just couldn't do this White Mountain thing, but kind of reassessed and calm down a little bit. So I think everybody's doing the same thing. But yeah, it's just kind of the group here. It's me and Rocket Man, and then the 2 British guys, Cinderella and Big Dipper, and then there's 2 other, and then Chef as well as in that group. And then there's 2 girls that's kind of joined, just going the same pace. 6 Ounce and Downhill are their names, so you may hear me throw around those 2 young women. I think they're in their 20s. And they're very fast paid walkers, yeah. But, yeah, hanging in there. Not going to give up yet. So, yeah, going to tent, eat, and get a good night's sleep, and we'll go from there. So, thanks for hanging in there, y'all. See you tomorrow.